Puka is next. Puka Nacua is next, which then triggers a cascading effect downstream to George Pickens. And Georgie boy, he's not going to be so lucky when Jerry's World opens up the pocketbook and they say, hey, pal, how about $33 million per year? And Pickens says, bro, we're not even using the same digit at the beginning of said number. I want 40. Jerry's going to go, well, this is going to take a while. And then the holdout and all the BS ensues, and we sit here and throw our arms up and say, how do you not see it? How do you not see it coming? How do you not see it coming? It's so blatantly obvious what's going to happen. Puka Nacua is next. Now, this report from NFL Network's Mike Garafolo says that he expects some time before the Rams and Puka Nacua agree to a contract extension. Is it possible that Georgie boy gets his deal before? I don't know that he does. Part of me thinks Pickens wants to wait until Puka gets his deal so that he has more of a reason to say, hey, I deserve the big money, pal. I deserve to be right here with the ballers that are sitting at the $40 million territory. That is what Georgie boy probably is going to wait for. Puka will be the highest paid wide receiver in the National Football League, or tied with JSN, which will put a $40 million trio at the top of this board, which means that Georgie boy will want to be 40 flat minimum, or at least 35 to 38 if we're talking about like he doesn't want to go through an ordeal and he's willing to say money's not everything, but I want the respect of being tied with JJ at 3, or tied with JJ at 4 and ahead of my partner CeeDee Lamb, that if I get more money than him, then he can then get more money than me, and it's a ladder. You climb up each other's back to go get the dollars, and that's the way that this game is played. The Fantasy Football Show, the reaction to the reaction, because we already did a live stream on this, but we've digested some. The reaction to the reaction show begins right now. File on in.
Live from the FantasyFootballShow.com studios. It's the Fantasy Football Show. Live! Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Smitty is also live whenever news breaks.
Puka Nacua is going to get paid big dollars, ladies and gentlemen. It's not even funny. It's not even remotely close. There's reasons behind it. Aerodynamics. The guy's got, even though he cut the hair, the mullet probably will return in time for football.
Through sheer science and intense aerodynamic study, the mullet of Puka Nacua has been reconstructed inside the Fantasy Football Show studios. This systematic balance of hair volume, mixed with both Quantum Atom fiber technology and L'Oreal shampoo and conditioner, creates a floating mechanism to which the world has never seen. Patent pending. To see this prototype in action, see Puka on Sundays as he floats around the field.
Puka Nacua is going to set the tone of what happens with Pickens, whether it takes a week, a month, whatever the case may be, unless Jerry steps up and offers Pickens a deal that just like 40 mil or 39 million. And Pickens says, you know what, no matter what, that's what I want. I think even if Puka gets 42, 43, so I'll take it. But will Jerry do that? Will Jerry step up? I don't think so. But Smitty, what if Pickens holds out? Are you not paying attention, Collins? Are you not paying attention? What do you mean, what if he holds out? He is holding out. He's already holding. What are we talking about, Collins? And Vader, you're taking a lap too. What did you just watch? How have you not seen that? Tell me you don't watch all my shows anymore, Vader. If you haven't seen that video, you're on a lap too. One of the more played videos we've had over the last year, and Vader hasn't seen it one time. Tell me you've been absent. No wonder you're in a bad place right now, Vader. You need to consume more content because I don't think you're on point. Hammer dropping a $50 wad on screen over in the mother freaking Rumble land. Let me throw that over here and hit the hammer time video. By the way, Wes, if Wes drops his Wes drops his $20 hauler today or anything above that, he gets his new video played.
It's hammer time.
I do need to add a hammer, like dropping down and you know, so hammer, I will tweak that, give yours a little more spice and such. Luis dropping a super chat. Luis, appreciate you very much dropping the super chat. Luis has got his own video when he drops 20 plus dollars as well. Can't wait for the Phil call. LOL. He should be feeling better. Phil will probably either never call in again or he'll call in and go, Smitty, sorry about last night. Or the third option would be even better if that's just the way Phil was. then we'll hear more about Phil, Philly boy. Okay, Landman in the chat. Landman, we haven't seen you, I think, a little bit. Appreciate you being in the chat. Hammer in the Rumble chat. We're at almost 8. We're getting closer to 8K on Rumble. It's crazy. Let's discuss more on the phone line about the Pickens and all that. I'll leave that to you guys. $50 super chat from Hammer says, I thought Dallas was in trouble before. Now it's a whole new ball game. You genuinely think Pickens will sit out if he doesn't get a contract? He won't sit out the whole year, but he'll sit out to the 11th hour. He would forego $28 million. I guarantee that. Boys, I don't think he sits out. It's very rare. It's possible. I wouldn't say it's impossible for the person to have the right mindset to be like, I'm taking this for the team. But it's a lot of money. You sit out. You're never going to be the same. You're losing money. When you think about like losing what you would lose financially, you're not going to gain back in the next contract. You're going to lose. Like Lev Bell did that. He lost so much money doing that. He lost so much. Everyone's like, no, he signed a big deal. No, he lost so much money, then signed a big deal, and it never made up for it. And you're never the same. You'll always fall behind doing that. You'll never play good football. Not saying he would necessarily not, he would definitely consider it might talk a big game, but will he end up doing it? I don't think so. But anything's possible. This news right here, very small, athletic. I mean, what does this guy know anyway? Don't rule out the Lions drafting a running back. I think everyone's going to consider drafting a running back. That's like no revelation whatsoever. The running backs will fall so far. Every team will be considering drafting a running back. Niners will draft a running back. There are a lot of teams will draft a running back. For those that living under a rock for the last handful of hours or days or whatever, JSN has signed his new extension, which is, we did a whole show on it and triggering this Puka Nacua conversation. But if you missed it, $42 million per year. You saw that on screen right here as JSN now leads the league in annual salary per year. But he also signed a $120 million guaranteed, deal, which is also history in the making. It's about a 168.6 4-year deal with $120 million fully guaranteed, 42.15 annual, which is just monstrous. Travis Kelce returned, if you missed that, on his new 3-year deal, which he probably will not max out, but $54 million in the deal can be worth up to 57, 18.245 million average. And year one is 12 million plus 3 million in incentives. Really, which is what we're thinking he's going to take it. He wanted something in case he was to play longer, feels better. Maybe he breaks up with Taylor Swift and he's like, I want to play football. I'm my own man. And then all of a sudden he plays 2 years instead of 1, but should play 1 year and then take it from there. Not much more news other than that. The Pacheco news. What else did I have? Pacheco, the Puka Nacua. Yeah, that's it. So Puka Nacua is next, or is he? Pickens is going to springboard off the Puka Nacua deal. Now, like I said, the only way Pickens signs his deal before Puka is if Jerry was to, and he won't, offer him something that his camp and him know that they would accept even on the Puka Nacua deal. Like they go above and beyond where they should, and then Puka sets the standard and it doesn't matter. That's highly unlikely. So if Pickens is getting lowballed, they're going to sit back and wait as Pickens holds out. He's in holdout mode. Anybody saying what? Like that question earlier, what if he holds out? What do you mean, what if he holds out, Collins? What the hell are you talking about? He's holding out. Like it's all beginning. This is the early stages of it, but Pickens is in holdout mode until he's not. And maybe he does some sort of like 1 foot in the door, kind of holding out, kind of not. That certainly is going to be an ebbs and flows type of thing. But when Puka signs his $43 million or $42 million deal, could it be 40 flat? It could, but I think Puka's probably going to be the highest paid. Once he signs that, it's game over. The odds of Pickens getting traded at that point is very high, because Jerry's going to exhaust this thing like he did last offseason when everyone's like, there's no way. Or when Parsons was traded, nobody thought it was going to happen. Nobody. Initially. It was like, no, it'll get done. This guy Pickens, doesn't matter if he's tagged. Tags to hold him in place to get a deal done. Deal can't get done. Guess what? Now it's like, okay, anybody else want to try and pay this guy? We'll give you the tagged player. Here you go. Red Rover, send him right over. Problem is, can the turmoil get turned up a notch higher so that the trade happens on or before draft day? Because guess what? Not a lot of teams, some will be as interested as they fill their wide receiver rooms. Makes it harder. Not impossible, but harder to get done, because teams that might be wanting Pickens now, they fill their voids and their holes in their roster, and they go, yeah, we love Pickens, but we don't have room for him now. And that narrows down the field of teams willing to go after Pickens via trade. Pickens is also going to get massive cash if he gets traded. His contract is much higher if he's traded. So what do you think that means? If he is about money more than he's about situation, he could be equally interested in both. But think about it from a contract perspective. The team acquiring a player via trade can't dilly-dally or nickel and dime the player. They're in a quick race to get a deal done and the trade executed in uniform parallel fashion. So when the player says we want 41, the team can't be like, oh, let's just hold out and nickel and dime. They have to accept these bigger offers to get the trade done at the same time. They don't have time to dilly-dally and negotiate. So a player's always going to get paid, almost always, higher from the team acquiring the player in a trade because of that pressure of just, okay, get it done, whatever, we got to fit it in. So if you're Pickens' agent and Pickens, you're getting lowballed by Jerry for 35. If you can create a trade through turmoil, severed relationship, holdouts, making it a total mess for Dallas and Jerry, then you're going from 34, 35 lowball offers to the team that's trading for you is paying you 39 or 40 guaranteed. And Neo dropping this little nugget here, Pickens going to the Raiders laughing emoji. Do you think that that's like when you dropped that laughing emoji and you typed it in and spent the time doing that, did you think that people were going to think that that was a bad place? Be a pretty damn good place. So I don't know if you meant to put like a screaming emoji or something. Like, do you think the Raiders are bad? Is that what that is? Are you basing that off of the past? Oh, look at the Raiders back in the past. Look at the Raiders. Look at the Raiders. Bro, do you really think the Raiders are a bad landing spot for George Pickens? I'm baffled by that. All right. If someone says, I don't know, maybe laughing at the Dallas Cowboys, says Neo. Neo, still. You didn't clarify, so the lap is yours, but laps are good for you. They make you strong. Appreciate Neo. Neo to the moon. Good sport, Neo. Neo, Smitty approved.
You've just been...
Phone lines are open. Dial in. Be happy to discuss any of this with you guys. Amongst other things, the phone lines are open.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
All right, so we've got Hammer's customized $20 super chat video. We've got Luis's customized 20 plus super chat $20 super chat customization. And now we've got Wes. So if Wes ever drops a 20 moving forward, because he dropped 250 the other night, $200 is the qualifier for your own video. Then from that point on, any $20 haulers or above, you get your video played when you drop the 20 or above. Speaking of Hammer, who was one of the three. Hammer, you are live, young man. Super dollars.
All right, let's see who we're going to piss off tonight. Well, Puka, yes, will be paid. He scares the living crap out of me.
Let me just merge Travis in.
George Pickens, he has his stuff.
Right, Puka scares you, or George scares you? Which one scares you?
I'm actually saying Puka scares me more
because of the injury concerns. Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm talking about antics.
Oh, the mental growth.
I think
he is going through something.
These multiple incidents that he's had, I think is going to lead to a much bigger.
Hold on 1 second. Let me merge this caller.
I'm in the middle of a take.
No, I got to merge the caller. Hold on. Hey, hang tight, mute yourself. I'll be right with you, but please hit mute. Hammer's in the middle of speaking. I just needed to merge that caller. All right, no more calls. I can't merge any more people. Go ahead, Hammer.
I don't wish it on any player. I mean, the guy's beyond talented, but for some reason, this feels like it could get to an AB level. Just the types of incidents and age and doing all of this when you have all this money on the line. That's even the worst part. He hadn't even been paid yet. But, I mean, yeah, to your point, interested to see what Dallas does. But Puka scares me more than George Pickens.
Yep.
Even though we've seen more stuff, but
Puka's definitely going
I think
through
Puka is
some mental changes for sure. And before anybody sits here and says, this guy's just living his best life, like, let him go do it. Like, why are you being critical? The guy's just going around dating. Like, let him. He hasn't had a chance to do it. And there is some truth to the fact that maybe we're just watching fame hit somebody and they're getting adjusted to it. He's still young. And it's kind of hitting him in a way that, like, he's handling it in a strange way. Just it's all rushing in. But it doesn't mean that, like, it gets excessively crazy or gross or something. But it does. There's a lot of parallels with wide receivers who take headshots that you can't possibly account for all the concussions they're getting. Like, some players in the past have said they've had hundreds of concussions. And just because they now have a concussion protocol, that doesn't mean someone's not susceptible to 100 concussions. It just means they're more likely to not go out with a concussive state and get even more screwed up because of the concussion protocols in place. But there are so many times where your bell gets rung as a wide receiver catching hospital balls, hitting the ground, and you just get up and shake it off, and no one knows that you're in that state because you didn't have the traditional hit, or you didn't see the visual cues. But so wide receivers are notorious for having more concussions than anybody could possibly imagine. And Puka Nacua, given his style of play, it's a question. And we've said this before. Anybody over it's been almost about a half a year to a year where we started calling this out. And people at first didn't take it well. Now you see a trend of people at least agreeing there's something going on with them. And you're just not sure if it's a fame is getting to him, arrested development type of thing going on. And he's just kind of letting himself, have some fun. And he doesn't know how to necessarily handle it the right way. And then it'll get tamed down. And he'll start focusing. But the problem is, yes, the focus needs to be there. And I truly don't know. We had somebody leave the call. You can call back if you want. There's a lot of concern here, and especially when he says he wants to retire before 30 years of age. That is a dynasty red flag. Although players have said that before. Tyreek said he wanted to retire at, I think it was 31 or something like that, and he never. So we don't really know, but he's definitely acting very, very wildly different, than he was when he entered the league.
And
Personality changes.
And my last point is George Pickens has been like this all the way since college. So that's another reason why I'm kind of making this.
Okay.
Like
all that said, though, how worried are we about this year, next year? Not really. So, like, if you're talking Dynasty short term, I don't think anybody should be batting an eye or worried about it, because this is going to take, if this is going to go a route that doesn't just have them like flatline at a little weird, like he flatlines at weird, doesn't really get crazy, then nothing's no worse for the wear. But if this is something that does get crazy out of control, which we can't predict, and I'm not saying it for sure will, it'll take 2 or 3 more years. So short-term Dynasty, not worried about it. 2026, zero concern. He's the 1, 2, 3, or 4 overall in fantasy football, 2026, period. If you want to say top 5 because you're going to throw all 3 receivers in it and the 2 running backs, Bijan and Gibbs, fine. But he is a top 5 lock. There's no discussion. There's no concern. He's not going off the rails in 2026. He's just in a different place than we've seen him. His personality looks completely changed. And I'm not saying it's CTE or anything specific, because I'm not trained to make that decision. But I do have a particular set of skills I've acquired over a long career. And those skills make me say there's a personality change. There isn't just he's getting a lot of fame and he's acting strange. But not worried about 2026. So on the George Pickens front, I also believe George Pickens is a little misunderstood because he was trapped in an environment where they didn't appreciate him. He had to watch DK Metcalf come on over. It's like a girl said, "Hey, I'm going to go date this guy. I want you to stay right here." to her man. Okay, I might be back, but how do you allow DK to come in, take your new contract, they don't pay you, you're raising your hand constantly saying, "Give me the ball, I'm a top 5 wide receiver in the league." They bring in DK, who's more one-dimensional, give DK your money, and you expect Pickens to be on his best behavior? He left Dodge, went over to Dallas, didn't even ask for money, he banked on himself, played like a top 5 wide receiver, like he told everybody he was, and now he seems like a good, well-behaved boy. But does that mean that he's going to not hold out? No, because he deserves to get paid. And he said, "Jerry, I don't need money now," which was unheard of. You don't get traded and not ask for the extension, especially when you're due the extension. But Pickens said, "I'll bet on myself, hold my beer, watch this." Pickens went out, delivered top 5 numbers. His hands are out. Give me my money. And Jerry's probably going, "I don't know." And that will create a little bit of a monster in Pickens potentially. But I think Pickens is misunderstood. I think he's not, when he talks about the contracts and stuff, he has a smile on his face. I like Pickens. I don't think Pickens is as big of a diva as people thought he was in that putrid situation where they didn't respect or give him credit. Heberhammer, it won't. One more take, and then you can stay on hold. Yeah. Let me go to Travis.
No, that's why I think it could get, because, dude, him betting on himself, I love that. That's just baller.
Yeah.
So that's all I have.
Crazy.
But yes, they're all good. Yes, Puka's going to get paid. But I'm just saying, I think there's something that is seriously.
Yeah. Okay. Hold tight. Mute yourself. Stay right there. Unless you have to go, you can come back. Whatever. But stay right there. Mute yourself. Travis, you're live, and then
I'll stay.
I think the other caller might have hung up. Travis, you're live. And then New Age Outlaw gifted 20 membership. Right. New Age, appreciate you, my guy. Everybody, thank New Age if you got one, or if you didn't get one because he's trying to send you one. Travis, go ahead. You're live.
You want to hit the super chat quick too before it gets lost in
Jonathan's Dynasty just got offered the 2.2 and the 3.3 and the 3.9 for Benungai. You could throw the entire 3rd round at me. I just don't care. Give me Benungai. I think Benungai is better than the 2.02. The upside's there. And again, you could give me the 3.1, 3.2, 3.3, 3.4. I can only keep so many. And I don't know that I'm landing any of those. And I feel like I could trade my future. You know, people get to the end of the third round or the middle, and they can't drop anybody. And they're like, anybody want my 3.5 for your future your third? Because they just don't want to lose the pick. And so you can get a third very easily. I have zero interest in trading an upside guy like Monangai, who is a midseason monster, by the way. Might even be, here's our midseason monster board. Jordan James, Jalen Coker, Rico Dowdle, Emmanuel Wilson, Keaton Mitchell, and Monangai. Very crafty midseason monster list, I might add. So the answer is no. The answer is a whopping no. No. All right, Travis, go ahead.
Especially because the 2.1, 2.2, it looks attractive, and it can be, when the time comes to draft, certain guys are on the board. But, before the draft, especially when you don't know landing spots, anything like that, you're going to be gambling on, like, the fourth or fifth best running back or the fifth or sixth best wide receiver. So,
yeah, and
Trone,
typical negative Trone self. Are we sure Monangai doesn't get replaced? We're not sure if any. Are you sure you're not going to grow a tail tomorrow? Like, no one knows, bro. But it doesn't matter. Like, the upside's there. You can live in fear about it. Everybody can be replaced.
Getting replaced before him.
Everybody could get replaced, but he's a young player. Yeah, he's a young player. The contract's there. Swift is more likely gone than not. But I mean, what are you supposed to do? Could he get replaced? Yes. Could Scatterboo get replaced? Apparently, yes. But I'm taking Monangai. Travis, go ahead. What do you think about this Pickens, Puka Nacua, JSN little situation here, and how it all is gonna, play on each other?
Yeah. So, like you and Hammer were talking about, Pickens bet on himself already. So he definitely doesn't want to bet on himself again, playing on the 1-year deal. So he will hold out, and he'll be a problem, because even if they stand firm and the season starts and he gives in and he plays, he's not going to be quiet about it, or at least in the locker room, it's going to be hanging over the locker room. Everyone's going to know he wants his contract. Like, they have to make a decision, either pay him or trade him before the season starts for sure. And it wouldn't surprise me if they, if A.J. Brown and Waddle are getting a first, I could see a team willing to pay a first plus more for Pickens. I mean, he's 25 years old, so it's worth it. Yeah. And then on the Puka front, there's a chance Puka could get a little less than JSN. I think he gets more, though, because he's been more productive than JSN, and him and his agent are going to go to the table and say that. Well, he just got $42 million. Well, I've been actually more productive than JSN in the 3 years I've been in the league. So, and what he played every game this year, right? So,
yeah.
Yeah, Puka had a stellar year. He also got injured 17 times. he was in the tent or the locker room.
That they'll argue against.
Yeah. But man, he was in the locker room or the tent like every game. It seemed. I wonder how many actual times he was in one or the other. I want to say it was like 15 out of the. It was crazy, man.
It was a lot.
And that goes to show that there's something there with the mental, changes, that it's like your body goes through. And this is another reason why in Dynasty he might be my number 1, 2, or 3 Dynasty receiver, but I start putting him more in the 4, 5, 6 space because of Stafford, because of his injury history, because of all of that. It's not just one thing. And also, for everybody that thinks Puka Nacua is Mr. Dynasty Invincible, you're the same person that was telling us Cooper Kupp was just going to be a fantasy god for another 10 years when he was very short-lived. And
another one.
And Cooper Kupp was every bit as good as Puka Nacua in that moment, that 1 year where he's the Triple Crown winner. And everybody said this is the best player in football, period. Cooper Kupp is him, and Stafford feeds these wide receivers, McVay enable Stafford to feed these wide receivers. And they didn't just accidentally find the top 2 wide receivers in the National Football League back-to-back, ready to shift one out and replace him with the other. It's just like Aaron Rodgers didn't, the Green Bay Packers they were not good at finding wide receivers like people think they were. Cobb, Jordy Nelson, over and over, and Devontae Adams. Aaron Rodgers made them. Doesn't matter if they could go on their own and be self-sustaining. Aaron Rodgers made them. Like, Adams was a good prospect, but Aaron Rodgers made all of them. Stafford mixed with McVay made Cooper Kupp. He was a good receiver, but they made Cooper Kupp and they made Puka Nacua. Puka Nacua, you wouldn't even be talking about Puka Nacua being a top 30 overall pick if he didn't land in LAR. It wouldn't even be. It's not like a talent that would have emerged to become the number 1, 2, or 3 receiver. This was made in a lab that had LAR on the door. And Dr. Stafford was in there in the lab cooking up a recipe that made this kid. And he might self-sustain later. So no one take what I'm saying and say, oh, you don't think he'd be great? Yes, because he's now who he is. But just as quickly as he rose, that's the same way Kupp rose, Kupp fell, Nacua could fall. And it's all contingent upon the offense, Matthew Stafford staying healthy. What happens when Stafford's gone? The dynasty concern is real. He's 4-5-6 or 3-4-5 instead of 1-2-3 in dynasty wide receiver rankings is real. Whether you want to agree with it or not, because you're a Puka Nacua dynasty owner and you're typing right now upset at me because I'm telling you the truth. All right, Travis, go ahead and then back over to Hammer.
Yeah, and it's crazy just how you're talking about with the Steelers, what the Steelers did. You know, they, like you said, they basically gave him Pickens contract, and to think they could have had Pickens for like $33 million, I think it is, and then they bring in DK, who really, when you break it down, has just as many concerns as Pickens, but off the field in terms of temper. He's always had a temper in the game.
Yeah,
he had that crap with the fans,
yeah.
One way or another.
Uh-huh.
He loses his head left and right on the field.
Yeah,
so it's like they completely downgraded. It's nuts.
Yeah, the Steelers are. It's kind of embarrassing. Steelers fans right now are not doing well. I mean, but I would say this. Pickens is if Jerry was smart, he would have just signed him, and maybe George didn't want to do a contract until JSN and Puka signed. There's very, very strong possibility that the holdout is more Pickens driven right now than it is Jerry. Truly, we don't know what the camp has said about, hey, let's wait until these contracts drop. But Jerry would have been very much in a better position if he just would have went straight to him immediately and said, let's get you $35 million a year, make you tied for the third highest or the second highest paid wide receiver, because Puka or JSN wasn't there yet. So it was just, let me cut this out just so everybody can see. This is the way it was. It was Jamar Chase, $40 million. The second highest paid wide receiver was JJ at 35. If he just would have went up to him and said, I want you to be tied with the second highest wide receiver in the league, $35 million. Let's do it right now. Pickens might have said, you know what? I don't know what's in store. Let's do it. Okay, do it. We don't know. Maybe he would have said no. But that's what Jerry should have been pushing for. If it comes out that he did push for that, I'll give him an apology. But I highly doubt he did. And so now, all of a sudden, you inject JSN's $42 million, and then you throw another $42 million on there for Puka. Now, all of a sudden, you're tied for fifth or whatever.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
I would have been offering him the exact contract CeeDee Lamb has.
BBQ.
Nice.
Thank you, BBQ, for the 20 gifted memberships. You straight up monster. You straight up savage. Yeah, well, that's what I said on the earlier show, Travis, that if maybe he would have accepted Lamb's contract. But I think even Lamb would tell him, go higher because I need to climb on your back to go get a higher deal. So, 34 is not going to cut it. If you
that's way out the window now. Yeah.
If you think, not you, Travis, but if you think out there doubting Donnie that Pickens is going to accept Lamb or below, Lamb won't allow that. Lamb will tell him you can't do that. For us, for the wide receivers, you can't. You just deliver top 5 numbers. You can't get less or equal to me. You have to go get the number that's going to sustain as top 5 for the next year or two. Because if he gets $35 million, that's going to be 7th, 8th, or 9th place 1.5 years from today. So you're jumping ahead of the number. You're not trying to, like, the people that say he's not top 5, he doesn't deserve top 5 or whatever. Let me tell you, he's not getting 5, 6, or 7. He's getting something that other players can then climb up above. That's the way it works. You don't just go in and say, well, I'm the 5th best wide receiver. I should get paid right where they're at now. This number goes up. It goes up tremendously. That's why the top quarterback in the league is never the top quarterback in the league unless the top quarterback in the league re-ups. And then when they re-up, yeah, they set the bar for everybody else. But when Josh Allen's in the middle of his deal, when Mahomes is in the middle of his deal, and then you got a guy like Dak Prescott getting a new deal, they will climb above those guys to set the new milestone. And then when Josh Allen and Mahomes are ready, they will climb above that and set an even bigger one. That's the way contracts work. I wish it worked that way for everybody, but that's the way it works in the NFL. Boys, Hammer, what else you got?
I was just gonna give some flowers to JSN. I mean, came on, like, always just hung in there. Dude, never heard anything. Not just this year, but like year before, played very well. And, to give someone that much money and, again, knock on wood, not have to worry about any antics. Mm-hmm. There's a lot to be said for that. So he earned that. So good for him.
Yeah, and it's, it's really a good situation because the Seahawks are kind of Seahawks fans are in for a rude awakening. This is not going to be a repeat. I'm sorry. And if you think it is, you can call in. The phone line's ready for you. But there's no way you're a better team today than you were yesterday. You're losing so many players, but this is such a good thing for Pickett or for JSN because they didn't throw enough anyway to meet the standard you would want, and then you realize he got all the target share, so it worked out. But you want them to throw a little bit more. And so losing all the pieces they're losing on both sides of the ball puts them in a better position to throw in the third and fourth quarter and throw more. And they're still good enough that they're going to be in the red zone, living in the red zone. That won't change. They're a good team that's going to struggle more, that's going to throw the ball more and need to get in games more instead of letting the defense completely control everything. This is all good for JSN. Everything about the offseason, the Seattle Seahawks letting players go, especially Kenneth Walker, it's all good for JSN. It all bodes very well because his team is still good enough. Not to win the Super Bowl, but they're good enough to march down the field consistently every game. That is great news for JSN. JSN could be better than he was last year or replicate what he did last year, roughly. And Puka and Jamar Chase, while they both could outscore JSN per start, it's possible. I'm not saying they will. The better odds of the last man standing, if you were to try and throw that into the mix, would be JSN. Just consistent, boom, boom, boom. He's getting the 90 yards and like Jamar Chase will get you 150 or 190 in a touchdown, but then they'll have 2 20-yard games. So JSN's just steady Eddie. He's third, second, third, second, third, and then finishes first because of it. And that's just the nature of JSN. He's Mr. Consistent, and he's the only one of the three that has a really what I believe to be, and it's a gamble and it's a total opinion based take, but I think he's the one that has the best backup quarterback in Milroe, regardless of what he's proven. I just think that there's like a Jameis Winston effect. Whether you win or lose, if Milroe gets in there, he's gunslinging. Mistakes will be made for sure. Not saying that they win, but that will be a good fantasy football combination if need be. But that's my take, and it's a little early to make that take. But I've liked Milroe. I've been very vocal about liking Milroe. Sergio with another super chat. How we feel about Crod, Tuten to the moon still. We love Tuten, bro. Tuten is beholden to the NFL draft like so many other players. And, if they draft a big name guy like Jonah Coleman, then there's a little bit of concern. But at the end of the day, I'm pretty optimistic, and there's enough risk that, I won't take 100,000 shares of Tuten, but he is a player that if he does escape the NFL draft, everyone's going to be on to. And so you do have to take your gambles now in some best ball, at least. Underdog promo code Smitty. We might draft tonight. So make sure you hit that link in the description. Promo code Smitty gets it done as well. Underdog, where you play as a new customer, they'll match your first deposit 50% all the way up to $1,000 using code Smitty. But you got to get your shares now of the very cheap Tuten value. Otherwise, he will climb tremendously if he escapes the NFL draft. Is Rodriguez going to threaten him? He could. Everybody keeps saying, "Oh, Rodriguez,
no.
Crod."
No,
he's got ties to Cohen, and it's like so does Tuten. Like Tuten, he drafted Tuten, and Tuten just played for him. Like, what are we doing? I'm not saying that it doesn't give Rodriguez a nice little edge if something happens, or let's say Tuten can't stop fumbling the football. But let's stop pretending like Tuten doesn't know Liam Cohen. Like, what are we doing? He's a really good player.
Rodriguez is just he's a solid back, and he's insurance, I think, and he might get a little goal line work here and there, but there's no way he's going to be splitting with Tuten, because LaQuint Allen's there too. I think all they have right now,
who is
notable wise, is those three guys. Anyway,
somebody came in here.
They had to bring in someone else.
Somebody came here like a week or two ago and said Tuten's too slow. And then we're like, bro, he runs a 4.3. What the hell are you talking about? And then they never responded again. Yeah. I don't know if they're like slid back in and acted like they didn't say that. I kind of forget who it was. But you should be ashamed of yourself. Whoever said that. Tuten's a beast, man. Just, he reminds me a lot of Achane in some ways. I'm not saying he'll be Achane, but if anybody, even if I wanted to, which I'm not, I just said I'm not. But if I wanted to say it, I get to say that. If I say someone's the next Bijan that you can't say that, I can say that. I can say whatever I want about Achane even specifically, because no one talked Achane up higher than this channel and myself. So if I say somebody's the next Achane, you don't get to tell me what I get to say. Now, I'm not saying he'll be Achane replicated, but he reminds me a lot of him. His ability to like kind of stand there and just boom, like a rocket. Gibbs does that too. A rocket right through a closing gap, and then all of a sudden Tuten's in the end zone untouched. When the angles, it's the angles that people can't with that speed close in on, and he knows it. I love Tuten. He's got to hold on to the ball. We've said that time and time again. He's got to stay healthy. Those are two caveats. He's got to escape the NFL draft. That seems like a lot of variables and obstacles, but he also feels like that's kind of priced in right now, because no matter what, they're using the hell out of him. Like, does it come down to, is he a starter, or is he a part-time, half-time player that still gets tons of production that's worth the ADP? Right now, at 50% share, he would be worth his ADP. That's the beauty in Tuten. If Tuten gets all the work or becomes a 70% guy, holds onto the ball, doesn't, then all of a sudden you're winning a league. Like, there's a nice baked-in value in Tuten right now.
Yeah, if
he's
Tuten
so
doesn't
good
fumble the ball,
and
if they
go ahead, Hammer, and then go back to Travis real quick.
I would say he's so good that literally ETN just had to continue to produce what he was doing to keep him off the field, and that says a lot in a good offense. And he's a rookie. He was fighting in there, and he was getting touches while ETN was going off. So that, I think, speaks to if anyone's doubting his talent.
Trone, do you really think you're not negative? Is Trone unaware that he's a negative? Is he one of those guys?
It's like obviously negative too.
He's
because
like,
what he's saying
such a negative
is right,
person,
but everything's framed negative.
You're negative.
If he doesn't fumble and he escapes the draft,
bro. You're
yes, that's what we said.
Yeah, I just said that you don't need to repeat it. And number one, it's always negative, and you say it's not negative. It's just Tone is one of those people that says he's not negative. I'm just speaking the truth. Like I'm just telling you how I feel. Like we know that you're telling us how you feel. You're a negative person about everything that's said. At least lately you are, and it's evident, and you can deny it all you want. I don't care. I'm not going to debate it with you. The people see it and know it. It's constant. And you act like you're going to act. Now, here's typing. I'm just telling you what. No, we know. You're just telling us how you feel. All right.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Hammer, anything else, bro?
That's it. I appreciate it.
Hammer, real quick. Pickens, is he playing in Dallas or not? And if he's not, where is he playing? And then you can deuce out. But I want that in.
Jerry gives him a contract.
Okay.
I think Jerry breaks his Jerry, and I think he gets a contract and he plays.
Okay. I kind of hope you're right, and I kind of hope you're not right. I hope you're right because I don't want the holdout to lead to an injury. But at the same time,
Jerry, where it's like, why am I thinking that? I just feel like, dude, something about this is like he's going to get paid.
It could be that
I feel it this time.
He could be trying to make up for the Parsons thing and overdo it. Who knows? But Jerry's just. They call it Jerry's world because no matter what you think he's learned or what he's going to do, he's so arrogant about it that you could walk up to him and he'll be like, "You don't think I've been through this before? I know exactly what I'm doing here. I'm going to act like I don't want this and later I'll pay more." And then he'll get hurt. And then everybody will say it was a bad move. Jerry's a madman. Bill Dunn in Dynasty, probably to a degree, Sergio. I'm not interested in Bill. Thank you for the super chat. All right, Hammer, call back if you got another one, bro. I wasn't trying to cut you off. That's just the nature of this show, so I hope you don't.
No, you're good.
All right, let it, bro.
You're good.
Let it, bro.
You're good. Appreciate it.
Travis, anything else? We will be back. So we will be back. I'm not necessarily leaving yet, but we're wrapping it up here. So I'll let Travis give his final take, and any other super chats that come through, I'll answer them. Let me go to Rumble real quick and see if there's any more. Thank you, New Age, for the super gifted memberships. Landman in the building. Appreciate Landman. Let's see here. Who else is over on the Rumble side? Aldi's always over there. Obviously, Hammer's over there. Travis, final thoughts?
Yeah, so with the Jaguars, they don't have a first-round pick, but they do have 3 third-round picks. So it's like, it's hard to say. They could take a running back in that 3rd round, I guess. So, I mean, I'm not going to say he's not going to escape the draft without a fairly high-picked running back, but, I mean, I think Cohen kind of handpicked him and LaQuint Allen. He likes those guys a lot. Now, like we said, he brought in Rodriguez, who is a guy he knows. And so, no, I don't agree with you, Tron. Travis agrees with me. I think Tuten, pretty much runs away with the job unless, like we said, and it's obvious, if anyone fumbles, they're not going to keep the job. And then, on a consistent basis, week after week after week. Or if they use a really high pick on someone that's really good. But, if they brought in, say, an Emmett Johnson, I don't think you could sit there and say, oh, Emmett Johnson's taking the job. It's going to be either a cloudy situation or a competition or something like that. I still think, regardless of who comes in, Tuten probably has the upper hand.
Yeah,
He's been in the system for
yeah.
years. He knows the system. Cohen picked him last year.
A rookie taking him out, early on in the year, it'll be fumbles and injury that he's got to overcome, even if they draft somebody, as you said. Now, if they draft Jonah Coleman, the only thing I would have concern of is that he's such a power back, like that could take away goal line no matter what, and that would suck.
Yeah,
but I don't know. Liam Cohen may or may not. I mean, everybody, again, all 32 teams are susceptible to drafting a running back they don't need from this class because they're all going to fall so far. Even like Singleton for speed. I mean, some teams might do it and then use them on special teams, but there's nobody safe from this running back class. I will say that, like, the further they go, though, if they drop so far that everyone's considering a back, then that means that the draft capital is low. And so if Emmett Johnson does go in the 4th, 5th round to the Jacksonville Jaguars, the commitment is so minimal that he's got way more obstacles than Tuten does to get into the lineup and keep it. Because the odds of a 4th or 5th round running back being an absolute stud starter in the league is very, very low. It happens, even undrafted happens, but it's almost like undrafted, you're better off. It's just, in some sense, it's kind of, I don't know, but I'm kind of joking, but I don't know. I really like Tuten. Back on point. Pickens to me is going down a long road with probably 8 to 10 more live streams before we have a resolution. Maybe 5 to 10. I don't know.
Yep.
I don't think Jerry's going to solve this before Puka Nacua's contract, which is unfortunate. And Jerry's so inept with this stuff that, like, if the draft passes us by and then there's less suitors, I still think somebody will trade for Pickens for sure, but it does kind of limit. There probably will be 1 or 2 or 3 less options to trade Pickens to, because the teams will fill their voids. Even like a team like New England or let me think of another team that makes sense for this. That's going to draft like Buffalo, for example. If Buffalo takes a wide receiver, Denzel Boston, who's not the biggest like body, type of go get the football player that the Buffalo Bills need. They've got DJ Moore, they're stretching the field. You got a real good need for like a Denzel Boston. He'd be great in Buffalo. Buffalo's not going to be interested in trading for George Pickens if they draft Denzel Boston. They're just not. They're going to be out of it. Doesn't matter how much you tell them. Like, they're just done. They're not in the game. I'm not saying they're in the game now either, though, but I'm just saying if they were considering it, like, hell, damn, let's go get them, they wouldn't be. They're for sure not going to be once the wide receiver, the rookie capital is invested. So Jerry's just inept. He just, if he does allow this to get out of hand and goes, well, finally, we'll trade him. It's going to be like, if I was in the boardroom, if I was part of the decision makers, if I was one of the suits, I'd be slamming my hand down on the desk going, Jerry, what are we doing? If we're going to trade him, trade him. Go ahead, sorry.
The contract alone probably, brings it down to, I don't know, 5 to 8 teams that would even consider it.
New England should be on the phone right now.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Is like, if you're willing to give up, a first and a third or whatever for AJB, give up a first and a third and I'd give up a second next year too.
Yeah.
Like, give up what
1, 2, 3. Give him the 1, 2, 3 special.
Within reason.
Give him the 1, 2, 3 special.
Yeah, and
I'd give him the 1,
because then
2, 2, 3. I'd give him the 1, 2, 2, 3 special. Like, look, you got to do it. You got to overpay. This is an elite receiver that Drake May would turn into a monster. The sideline catches this guy would allow Drake May to throw.
He fits his game so good.
The outsides is where that's like when they heat map, when you heat map where Pickens plays and where Lamb plays, and it's like, here's the field. Here's Dak. You have Lamb like all up in here. He's all over, and then Pickens is, this is Pickens' heat map. It's like, it was the perfect marriage. And that's why they're the Dak Attack. They formed the Dak Attack band. But yeah, Pickens, put him in New England. Oh my God, he'd be a top 5 wide receiver again. In some ways, even maybe safer because Lamb was hurt, and part of me feels like Lamb is going to be. And I shouldn't say part of me. The whole world believes this too because Lamb's going ahead of Pickens in drafts. So Lamb's still a first rounder, which surprises me. I'm surprised people aren't really off of CeeDee Lamb right now. But Lamb is healthy, is going to impede on his top 5 return and replication of that. I think Lamb's going to be 4 or 5, and Pickens holds him back somewhat from being 1 or 2 or 3. So 4 or 5, and Pickens is like 8, 9, 10, 7, 8, 9, 10. Dak could easily produce the number 4 and number 7 wide receivers in the National Football League. It's not even remotely weird. Yeah. Aaron Rodgers did like 9 and 10 in the Jets with Wilson and Adams. Travis and I talk about that all the time. And Aaron Rodgers was not good that year. If Dak's playing top 5 level numbers, he can absolutely produce a 4 and a 6, a 7 and 8, a 1 and 11. I mean, it's easy. Cakewalk. Not even the argument.
And a lot of people will say, oh, well, Pickens is going to cost, this much money, blah, blah, blah. But if you're a team like the Patriots, say, and you're going to pay A.J. Brown, 28, 29 million, whatever it is, for 2 or 3 years, well, how much, it's more money, but how much more production are you getting for the little bit of extra money you're spending for that last year or two? Because Pickens will get, a 4-year contract probably, like everyone else is doing right now, 4 or 5 years at the most, Is that what JSN got, 4 years, was it?
Yep. 4 years, 168.
So, that's
42.
So you're looking for 4 years on Pickens or 2 years on AJB for slightly cheaper. Like, it's a no-brainer to me, but see what happens. I think what will happen is we'll either see a contract before the draft, or we might see like a draft night trade with Pickens. I think he's a really good candidate for that.
Let's hope, man. The Crosby thing's done. That was definitely an avenue, but there's a negative % chance that the Raiders are trading Max Crosby. They would be in such a bind if like a team tried to test that. Right. Then they say we'll give you 3 first rounders for him. They can't do it. They literally will not trade Max Crosby. They won't. It's already decided. They already sat him down. They already, he already re-announced he's staying. It was they kind of felt like grass is greener type of situation on both sides of the fence. There's an uncomfortable amount of rekindling to the point where like if you go offer some wild trade, they can't even talk about it. It's done. It's over. They're back together. Even if they decide, oh man, maybe we didn't want to do this, the Raiders are in. It's not going to happen. So that was the one thing where Pickens in a player trade, there was a lot of ties to that conversation, like Pickens and Max Crosby, and you could do it. But you could still maybe trade the teams that make the most sense for a Pickens trade on draft day would be, you wonder if the Rams would consider it. We haven't heard a single bit about the Rams, but if they went after AJB, you wonder if they would. It's not what we want. We don't want 3 receivers over there. But I'm just saying, I wonder. I think Baltimore is in the mix. I think well,
they could, because they also talked about trading Adams.
Yeah.
So they could flip Adams too.
Yeah, they could. New England, obviously. I think let's see here. Chargers are like kind of a sneaky team to do something like that. I just don't know that I want it. That doesn't mean it can't happen. Carolina, no. Carolina, I mean, who knows what they do, but they better not. They don't have the quarterback support to pull that off.
I would say Philly if they're going to move AJ Brown, but Philly's at one of those weird points where I will always say, like, the cap is crap type of thing. You can maneuver it all you want, but they are actually coming to the point where they are having to pay some of that actual cash down. Like, because you can stretch it out, but in a 5 or 6 year period, there is going to be a year where you have to maneuver some things and actually pay the money.
Yeah.
So
I'm going to say,
I don't know if they could quite afford that.
I'm going to say New England. And then, well, you don't hear a word about it, but Baltimore, for me, these are the top 2 landing spots for Pickens.
Yep. Yeah. But Baltimore's sneaky because they can do it.
I'm telling you, this owner wants out. He wants out. He's going to make a splash. They took that Max Crosby trade back, that trade, not to necessarily hold the picks, but maybe to redistribute them. And so this is going to be an option for Baltimore. Now, how do I like that? I don't. I mean, Flowers was really good last year, though. And Lamar had never produced a top 20 wide receiver before, ever. And Flowers was fantastic. So is there a world where Pickens takes, because he's going to take Flowers' job, essentially. I mean, Flowers is a different position, but he'll take all that work. But will he consistently eat enough to be top 10? I don't know. I think I don't hate it, but I don't want to try it. But if it happens, we'll embrace it the best way we can, and then look at the positives and negatives. But I think those are the 2 teams most likely to get George Pickens. All right, Travis, final thought, and then I'm out of here, and then we'll be back at midnight.
No, I'm good.
All right.
I'll see you at midnight. Later, Smitty.
Thank you, Rumble. Appreciate you. We're at 7.2K on Rumble. Anybody drops that massive wad over on the Rumble tip jar using the BTC Bitcoin, just click that. You don't even have to have necessarily any Bitcoin. It's just if you click the $sign on the main channel of Rumble, it'll walk you through it. But anybody drops that, the show's dedicated to you for the first month, and we start the Rumble show early. We're starting the Rumble show at 10K. What does that look like? Not sure. Worldwide West says, I want to see my video. Wes, you're late to the party. We're about out of here, but anytime Wes, who dropped a $250 super chat the other night, $200 qualifier, gets your own video. He's going to get his video played right now. Let me just go find it. Wes, thank you for the $20 super chat, kind sir. Wes is the man, the myth, the legend. Appreciate you, my guy. $20 super chat. Monster. Right at the end of the show. Love it. Wes, thank you very much. And Wes, you get a standing ovation as well for dropping the 20 watt on.
Let's go, mashed potatoes!
Yeah, buddy.
Hope you like your video, Wes. Anybody else wants their own customized $20+ super chat holler button? You know what to do. You know what the drill is. Thanks, Wes. Appreciate you. Live Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Every single Monday through Friday. Live whenever big news breaks at the bottom there on the bottom left, and then midnight Eastern. We're live almost every single night. Wes, you like that? The world is yours, pal. Hussein, appreciate you. Wes likes it. Now when Wes has company over, you can be like, guys, watch this. Wes has company over. Guys, gather around the TV. On demand. Be back at midnight. Appreciate you all. Trone says he's going to be more positive. I like that. You can do it, pal. See you at midnight.